That's good stuff. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you might be in the world. This is the very first episode of Coffee with Kaizen. All right. Now you might be asking yourself, what is Coffee with Kaizen? Is it a new podcast, a new video series? The answer is yes and no. All right. Because if you've been following me for any amount of time, you probably know about the Life in English podcast, which I've been doing for a couple of years now. That's not going to change. But I want to do an experiment. So for the next month, from Monday to Friday, every morning, I'm going to sit here, enjoy my morning cup of coffee like I always do, and just chat with you for a little bit. You know, I might share an interesting story, a quick English tip, answer questions that you guys ask me all the time on social media and stuff like that. The point is, we're just going to enjoy our morning cup of coffee together every day, Monday to Friday, for the next month. We'll see how it goes. All right. So you can kind of think of Coffee with Kaizen as a daily podcast, where Life in English is more like a weekly podcast. Right. And Life in English is kind of like the parent, and Coffee with Kaizen would be like the child. I don't know. But you have the tree, which is Life in English, and then you have the branches. And one of those branches would be Coffee with Kaizen. Hopefully that makes sense. It's not really important. Just understand that you're going to be seeing this face every day for the next month. All right, we're going to get real close. Real close. But anyway, for the first episode of Coffee with Kaizen, I got some notes here actually because I didn't want to forget anything I wanted to say. So yeah, like I said, what you should expect in every episode is just something different. It's very similar to the Life in English podcast, just a much shorter version, and it's daily. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I won't go super crazy deep into a subject like I would on the Life in English podcast. But if there's just a quick English tip or a question that I can answer for somebody, or just say what's up first thing in the morning, I think that'll be valuable to you because it's always a different subject, and I'll always be teaching you something about life or English. So just your little daily dose of English with Kaizen, right? All right, so the question of the day, now that we got the introductions and the formalities and all that shit out the way, what's the question of the day? I get asked all the time now, why do you only teach English in English, especially when you can speak other languages? How are you going to teach me to speak English if I'm learning English and I can't really understand all of it? How can you teach me only speaking English? Why do you do that? And I think it's a understandable question, but the answer is actually very simple. I just don't think people like it very much. The reason I teach English only in English is because I learned very early in my language learning journey that the best way to learn a language is by immersing yourself in that language. Now, a lot of people will say you got to move to that foreign country to learn that language. I say that's bullshit, but that's just my opinion. I think that you can find many different ways to live your life in a particular language at home every day. You know what I'm saying? And when you stop and think about it, this is the philosophy. We don't have to overthink these things. English or language is not like math, science, history, social studies, things like that. I've said this 100 times on the Life in English podcast. I'm going to say it 100 more times until people really start to understand, there's a more effective way to do this shit. You've already done it. Like, how do I learn a foreign language? The question is understandable. I had the same question years ago. But the answer is very simple. Do exactly what you did when you learned your first language. What did you do? You were a baby. The people around you were making certain noises. They were talking to you. You didn't understand what the fuck was going on. But slowly, I don't know how this works. I'm not a linguist. But slowly, something in the brain starts happening to where these words, these sounds that everyone around you is making start to make sense. Right? Bottle, cup, coffee, mom, dad. These words start to have meaning for some reason. I don't know how it works, but that's what happens. And slowly over time, you start trying to talk back. You're just making noises, And over time, you can see in a baby, there's intent there. They're not saying words per se. They're making noises, and you can see there's an intent to communicate, right? And slowly over time, they start learning how to pronounce words, and they have their first words. And this whole time, all they hear around them is that language. English, for example. That's all I hear all day, every day around me on the TV, the radio, mom, dad, sister, brother, everybody speaking English. all the time. So I start trying to imitate the people around me and start speaking English all the time. And slowly but surely, I get better at putting sentences together, learning new words. I learn context and things like that. Then I learn to read and write. You've already done it. You already done it. You didn't learn your native language in a foreign language. You learned it in the native language. So I don't see any logical reason to apply any other strategy, methodology, or way of thinking when it comes to learning another one. Just do the same thing. The difference is now you're most likely an adult. You might be a teenager if you're watching this. You might be anywhere from 16 to 60. I don't know. But the point is, you're older now, so you have the benefit of experience. You understand, hopefully, you understand context. You can use the context of a situation to infer what's happening or what's being said, to guess, to imagine what's being said. What's the facial expression? What's the tone of voice? What would I say in that situation? Could I understand a few words and then maybe guess the meaning of the entire sentence? Stuff like that. You can do that now as an adult. Whereas a child, I don't think a child thinks the same way when they're hearing a foreign language or just a new language. They're just kind of soaking it up. And I guess that's the point, is you have to be at a place where you can kind of be comfortable feeling like a kid. Because you have to go back to 0 or age 5 or age 7, where you can communicate a little bit, but a lot of stuff you don't understand. You can't express yourself like you want to or like you would like to, right? And just every single day, listen to that language and speak that language. That's how you learned your first language. You didn't take any courses to learn your first language. You just learned it. There are people that cannot read, but they can speak a language. What does that tell me? It means that you don't need to. I'm not saying English schools are bad. I'm not saying school is bad. Education is bad. Not even close to my point. I'm just saying that if somebody who didn't even finish 4th grade, somebody who dropped out of school before they turned 10, can still speak a language, what does that say about you and me? It means that anybody can learn a language. It's not dependent on how smart you are, how educated you are. You need to know how to learn, and I'm here to help you learn that. But other than that, dude, just don't overcomplicate it. So getting back to the question itself, because I don't feel like I've answered it. The reason that I teach English in English is because I feel it's the most effective way. Besides that, I don't make lessons or content or material for beginners. That's just not my specialty. That's not what I'm really interested in. That's not what I'm good at. This is more for the pre-intermediate, intermediate, advanced people who have already gained some type of understanding and working knowledge of the basics of the English language. So if you're having a hard time understanding me right now, I'm not saying that this isn't for you. I'm just saying that I'm not speaking directly to somebody who has just started learning English. I'm happy to help in any way I can, and I hope that you find what I do helpful as well. But that's just it. It's totally valuable to have somebody who speaks your native language teaching you trying to learn a foreign language in the beginning, because you need to translate, you need to understand complex ways of thinking or just different ways of thinking that are abstract to you because we think different ways in different languages, right? Totally valuable, probably even necessary for all of us. But there comes a point when you got to move away from that and understand the more productive way, the only way you're going to reach the next level truly is to leave your native language behind, put it in your pocket, leave it at home, don't bring it with you to class, and rebuild your brain or build a new brain in a new language, a new way of seeing the world, a new way of describing reality, a new way of communicating and expressing yourself. You can't be thinking about your native language when you're trying to learn a new one. You're just slowing yourself down. So I just think it's the best way, man. It's the best way for those who really want to challenge themselves, who really want to learn, who really want to improve their comprehension, their vocabulary, their understanding. I'm not saying it's the only way. I just think it's the best way. That's the whole concept behind life in English, is if you want to learn a foreign language, you just have to live your life in that language. That's it. When I was learning Spanish, I would wake up every day and live my life in Spanish. When I was learning Portuguese, I'd wake up every day and live my life in Portuguese. And I still do, till today. I speak English and Spanish and Portuguese basically every day, even if I'm talking to myself. That's the whole concept. You know, there's no secrets. There's no tips. Do not waste $300 or $500 or $1,000 on some bullshit course. Somebody saying they got the secret to fluency, because it doesn't exist. You already got the secret. Just ask yourself, what did I do to learn my first language? And do that. Hopefully that makes sense. I haven't taken a sip of coffee since this transmission started, but that's it for now. That's episode 1 in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow. No, actually, not tomorrow, because today is Thursday, August 12th, 2021. It's crazy that we in August already, man. It feels like just a month ago. It was 2021. Everybody was like, woo, 2020 is over. You know what I'm saying? We're in August, the middle of August. But anyway, I record this today. I'm going to edit it later this evening when I get some time. I'll release it Friday morning. So every episode that you see will be from the previous day. So I record this on Thursday, release the next episode on Friday. So I'm going to record one tomorrow morning and release it on Monday. You get what I'm saying? So just a reminder, Monday to Friday, most likely at 8 a.m., Coffee with Kaizen. It's a part of the Life in English podcast. It's kind of like a sub-series of the Life in English podcast. So these episodes, or at least all the episodes from the next month, will be on the same podcast feed as Life in English. They'll be on lifeinenglish.net. You can find them there, Spotify, anywhere that you watch or listen to the podcast. It'll be there. If you can't find it, shoot me a message on social or an email maybe at English with Kaizen. And if you can't find it, I'll try to help you find it somewhere. All right. But that's it, man. Episode 1 in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.